We bring you inside a Chambers Gymnasium here in the James A. Babcock Court at Paoli High School. Tonight it's the Patoka Lake Athletic Conference opener for both your West Washington Senators and the host Paoli Rams. Both teams looking to keep their winning ways about them. The Senators pick up 2 big road wins last week at Medora on Tuesday and Friday night in a thriller. They win it against Eastern on the road. Meanwhile, Paoli has picked up wins to start the season against both Henryville on the road and then back here last Saturday night against the Lanesville Eagles. It's a clash of conference rivals in the Patoka Lake Athletic Conference here tonight, and your countdown to the tip starts now. Hello again, everyone. I'm Misty Jones, and joining me in just a moment for tonight's broadcast of Senator basketball on Salem's 1220 will be my sidekick and my broadcast partner, Mr. Mark Gibson. And for this young and energetic Senator squad, the early season results seem to definitely be a hit among those in Senator Nation. They battled hard in a season opening loss to the Lions right before Thanksgiving. And Coach Smith, seeing that fire inside, hoped that they could build off of that as they went on the road last week. And as I said, they were able to bring that fire and that grit as they bounced back in a big way with those 2 wins. And perhaps we got the best glimpse into the future for Senator basketball over the next couple of years when this youthful roster came to life against the Musketeers last Friday night. In fact, they trailed most of that game down to the last 3 minutes or so before taking their first lead of the night. They would relinquish that lead just one time in that final 3 minutes of play. They were able to come down the stretch, come up with a huge set of defensive stops and plays at the defensive end. Holden Bousman comes up with a huge steal there in the waning seconds. Senators take possession of the basketball. Parker Green gets fouled on a steal himself. He's able to go down and knock down 2 big free throws. In fact, he went 4 for 4 in the fourth quarter as a freshman with ice water in his veins. Gave the Senators the lead at 44-41 with just a few seconds remaining. Eastern was able to go down, get a 3-point play opportunity off of a missed 3-pointer. It was Parker Wallingford who come up with the big offensive rebound and putback as time expired, but he wasn't able to connect on the free throw attempt with no time left on the clock and could not push that game to an extra 4 minutes of play. And the Senators sneak out of Eastern in the conference, or in the county rivalry game last Friday night with the 44-43 edge. And as I bring in Coach Gibson here tonight, you know, the Senators showed a lot of heart and toughness, and we even used the word grit going back to last week. But, you know, in that game against Eastern especially, the Senators fell behind early, never really was able to get anything going as far as, you know, working their mojo a little bit in that first half and trying to get a lead at any point. They did manage a couple of ties. It took until, like I said, that final 3 minutes of play for them to finally get over the hump, to break the ice, if you will, and take their first lead. But tonight, a much different story here at Paoli in Chambers Gymnasium, because this is a very solid Paoli club, much like we could see out of the Senators in a couple of years, because after playing a lot of youthful guys over the last couple of seasons, Dusty Cole has several juniors and seniors on this club. And Coach, this is a team you definitely do not want to fall behind against early on, especially with them playing here in their home gym. So what's it going to take, especially on the defensive side tonight, for the Senators to try to keep these Ramblers in check in this opening half of play?
Well, I think you mentioned it earlier when you talked about the grit and the guts in that last week against Eastern. I mean, like you said, we never could get over the hump forever, until finally the last 3 or 4 minutes got over the hump and took the game there at the end of the fourth quarter. But one of the things they're going to have to do is they can't give up a bunch of easy buckets. I mean, this is quite possibly the best team we've played so far, and probably is the best team that we've played so far. A lot of experience. If I'm not mistaken, I think this team took us to overtime last year as a young team against a lot of experience that we had last year. So we're going to have to make them work. We're going to have to be able to stay in front of our man. We can't give up a lot of penetration. We can't lose a guy on back cuts. I mean, we're going to have to play solid defensively. And that's one of the keys that I had, are easy buckets. We can't give up a bunch of runouts or easy buckets where we lose a guy on the defensive end. And, you know, you got to minimize those for them because they're so athletic and so good. You got to make them work on the offensive side. I don't know if Coach will switch things up a little bit. Every now and then it seemed like the first 3 games he might switch just a little bit, mostly man-to-man, but he has switched here and there to a little bit of a zone. We'll see. It'd be interesting to see if he mixes things up to try to slow them down a little bit offensively. And another thing, I mean, a very athletic Paoli team, so we can't let them own the boards. We have to find a guy, check him out, one shot and done. We give them too many second chance points, we're in trouble.
Well, on the flip side of the coin, as I said, Dusty Cole's Rams enter tonight's conference opener here at home after winning 2 to start the season against a couple of quality ball clubs in both Henryville and Lanesville, getting a away home split last weekend because they're one of the last teams in Southern Indiana to kind of open up their basketball season. And as I said, their rosters included a bunch of freshmen and sophomores over the last couple of years, and now these kids are juniors and seniors and poised to make a run and make a little noise in the 2A class here in the South. And that, you know, is something that Dusty's been eyeing with this group, led by Ty Lawson. Fantastic point guard, could score the rock at will. In fact, over the 2-game stretch here thus far against Henryville and Lanesville, he's averaging 23 a game to lead all scorers for the Rams. And they've got a front line that's built with a lot of strength and athleticism and some length across that front line, and can pose some real problems for you from 15 feet and in from the elbows. Coach, this is also a group, because they're athletic, because they're seasoned, they will get after you defensively. You'll see multiple defensive looks, like a team after your own heart, at least in the defensive side of things, because they'll continually switch it up. And you'll hear Coach Smith talk about that a little later on tonight. What do the Senators do to maintain poise here early on the road against those multiple looks?
You just said it, poise, and especially by our younger guards. So, you know, we're going to have Parker and Holden as freshmen, you know, coming up. You're going to see it, especially with Cam Zink out. You know, they're going to get a little bit more playing time than they've seen in the first 3 games. They're going to have to play, and you said it, poised. They're going to have to play with poise. They're going to have to keep calm when things don't go right. You know, young kids sometimes, when things start to get a little fast or aren't going well, they can start to panic a little bit. A bad pass here, you know, an unforced turnover like a travel or a double dribble or something there. You know, Parker and Holden and Mikey Nichols as well. So they're going to have to play with poise, and they're going to have to keep calm and direct this team and make it, you know, make sure we're patient on the offensive side and get good shots. So there's a lot that's going to come down to these young guards.
Well, as always, we want to take this moment during our Senator Tip-Off pregame show to thank you, the fans, for tuning in tonight to WSLM 1220 on the AM dial as we bring you coverage of the Senators here live from Paoli High School in their Patoka Lake Athletic Conference opener. And, of course, we want to thank all the sponsors that make this and every broadcast of Senator basketball possible. And those sponsors include John Jones GM City, bringing you this pregame show coverage all season long, as well as Eddie Gilstrap Motors, the Senator halftime report sponsor, and our post-game show sponsor, Ace Hardware of Salem. Also this year, McDonald's, Walmart, Brady Bishop, and Channel Seed, Salem Crossing, and Meadowview Healthcare. We'll step aside and take a break. Our first one of the night here on the John Jones GM City pregame show. Senator Tip-Off pregame show will continue after this word from the Indiana High School Athletic Association. And after that 60-second timeout, we'll hear from Senator head coach Sean Smith to get his thoughts on tonight's matchup against the Rams. You're listening to Senator Basketball tonight on Salem's 1220.
Welcome back.
Looking for future leaders we can believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Indiana. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It includes learning to listen, accepting responsibility, being a good role model, and it's about respect. The result, it transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Welcome back as we continue on with more of this edition of our Senator Tip-Off pregame show, brought to you by John Jones, GM City of Salem. as we get ready for the Senators in their conference opener tonight on the road as they take on the Paoli Rams. And we're joined now in our pregame, as always, by Senator head coach, Mr. Sean Smith. Coach, got to be pretty pleased last week. 2 big road challenges, first road challenges for your young squad on the season, and they answer the bell with 2 big wins. What were your takeaways from last week?
Oh, I thought we got better, and that's what we're really looking to do, is just try to get better every day and, go on the road with a couple road contests, as you said, and a young squad. You don't really know what to expect, but, I thought we got better as the week went on, and definitely pleased to come away with a couple wins.
I tell you what, it was an exciting one on Friday night over at Eastern, a game where your team, really just couldn't get over the hump. They got close a couple of times, and Eastern would drag it back out. They got it up to as many as 9, but then they come roaring back in that fourth quarter and make for a pretty exciting finish for the fans.
Absolutely. That was a fun game, and the kids never stopped playing. They never gave up and continued to fight and battle. And when an opportunity presented itself, we knocked some shots down and found a way to pull that game out. So I was really proud of the kids just for playing hard for 32 minutes. And we made a lot of mistakes, but which is expected. We know we're going to make a lot of mistakes, but we try to learn from them and get better. But the thing is we continue to play hard and fight and play with good spirit and communication. And again, it was great to trust the process and at the end, find a way to win and have the result that we wanted.
I've seen the word grit used a lot this week in people describing the game, whether it's on social media or whatever the case may be. And we even used that word last week in the postgame, as you said, to make some mistakes. And we had you for more turnovers in that game than you had in the first 2. But to go on the road to overcome that adversity and to come up with some huge defensive stops down the stretch was pretty big for your club. Yeah,
I was very, very pleased with how hard we fought on the defensive end. We really battled and did a really nice job on, the Llewellyn kid and the Moore kid who had really scored for them the first 2 games. And after Coates hit a few shots, we pretty much shut him out in the second half. So we did a nice job of taking care of, the players that we wanted to really focus on. We just did a good job, as a team, from a defensive standpoint. So hopefully we can continue to build on that and hope to see our defense continue to improve.
Senators again able to escape 44-43 on the road at Eastern in that cross-county clash last week, as Eastern missed out on an opportunity to send it to overtime with a missed free throw with no time left on the clock. And Coach, maybe one of the concerns, and maybe not so much as a staff, don't know, that's why we're asking you, the free throws. Right now, probably not shooting the volume you would like to see throughout the course of a game, and you got a couple of guys, a couple of your guards that haven't attempted a single free throw. So how do you start to maybe make the turn on the corner there with some of your young guards and get them to be more aggressive or to look for those opportunities to get to the line?
Yeah, definitely. That's certainly something that we talk a lot about. We want to get to the foul line, and we set goals for that. And I think a lot of that's just going to come in time with just guys getting a feel for what they can and can't do. And we're certainly working on adding some things to our offense where we can maybe get the ball in the paint or to the rim, which is how you get to the line, by challenging the defense. And we definitely don't want to be just a jump shooting team where we're going to live and die by threes. But that's just something I think is just, again, part of that process, part of that learning process, and the kids will figure out how to do that and become more confident in themselves and attacking the rim and challenging defenders.
Well, obviously you're going to get that opportunity as we turn our attention to tonight's contest with the Rams, another road challenge for you, and perhaps your biggest road challenge yet and biggest overall challenge. This is a team that, much like your group this year, they've played the last couple of years with young guys, or majority of young guys, freshmen and sophomores, and now those guys are juniors and seniors. And Paoli's a team that really likes to switch things up defensively. So tell us about the scouting report for the Rams and what specifically we can expect to see.
Yeah, this is a big time test for us. Paoli's very talented, top to bottom, and you bring up a great point. I mean, really, this team that we're playing tonight, is the same group of guys that we played maybe the last couple years. They were at a different stage in the process, 2 years ago, and they gave us a battle with a young team, and then last year they were a very solid team, and they gave us everything we wanted. We were very fortunate to win both of those games last year, and then on top of it, they had a really talented freshman player, a 6'5" kid. He has the last name of Bosley, and very talented kid. So, on top of that, all these guys that they've been playing for the last couple of years are now juniors and seniors. They have all the experience, and they've gotten bigger and stronger, and they've improved. So, they're at that stage in the process where it's time to maybe harvest some of their from.
That was some of my conversation with Coach Smith prior to tonight's game here tonight with the Rams. Very quickly, as we close down our Senator Tip-Off pregame show, brought to you by John Jones GM City, we bring you our keys to victory tonight. First and foremost, the ability to adjust. Can the Senators recognize these multiple defensive looks on the fly and make the proper adjustments without panic? Number two, got to work the glass. Get guys with butt to gut, drive them out of the lane, secure the boards. And finally, limit their looks with solid rotations, communication, and not being afraid to contest shots. John Jones GM City, a proud sponsor of our pregame show all season long. Call them at 1-800-473-5546 or ISELGM. Check them out at johnjonesautogroup.com, or better yet, stop by their location at 1450 South State Road 60 in Salem. John Jones GM City. You see so many because they pay so little. Come back with the starting lineups right after this. High School, home of James A. Babcock Court. Let's meet tonight's starting lineups. First for the host Paoli Rams, 2-0 on the year, ranked number 15 in Class 2A, led by head coach Dusty Cole, 66-49 in his sixth season at the helm of the boys program. Previously head coach of the girls program here. He has a 3-4 record all time against the West Washington boys. They average 69.5 and give up 59.5 per game, with wins coming over Henryville and Lanesville. He'll start at two guard set. Number 14, Ty Lawson, 5'11" and a junior. He starts at the point, averaging 23 points per game to lead the Rams. In the backcourt with him will be his junior classmate, Jordan Clark, number 12, 6 foot and a junior, 4 points per game for Clark. Up front, Ashton Minton starts at one forward, number 32, 6'2" and a junior, 8 points per game. On the other block, 42, Dietrich Sears, 6'2" and a senior, 6 points per contest. And in the middle, tonight the freshman will get the start. A familiar face to some of our young Senators, number 10, Brett Bosley, 6'5" and a freshman at 8 points per game for Coach Dusty Cole and the Rams. Now for the West Washington Senators, 2-1 on the year. Coach Smith, 54-28 in his 4th season in Campbellsburg. This team averages 44.7 and give up 44 per game. And they have wins from last week over Medora and Eastern. Before tonight's contest, they had also fell to Salem in the opener. He'll start 3 guards, 22 Holden Bousman, 6 foot and a freshman, 9.3 points per game. And he also leads the team in steals at 4 per contest. Mikey Nichols, number 14, starts at a 5'10 junior shooting guard spot, 3.5 points per ball game and 3 assists to lead the team. 12, Parker Green at the other guard spot, 6 foot and a freshman, nearly 6.5 points per game. And up front, 24, Harrison Sanford on 1 block, 6'2 and a sophomore, averages 5 points per game and leads the team with 6 rebounds per contest. Nick Mars will start at the other forward, 6'3 and a senior, number 34. He averages 7 per game. Senators in the road blues, trimmed in red and white, red letters and numerals, and the Paoli Rams in the home white threads, trimmed in purple and gold, purple letters and numerals. Tonight's Indiana High School Athletic Association officials, Mr. Gary Wiedemann, Brian Farnsley, and Mike Paoli. The tip is up, and the Rams will control it out of the gate, and the Senators will open up tonight on your 1220 AM dial, moving from left to right. Senators open up in a little matchup zone look. And they'll go backdoor for Bosley, and he lays it up over the rim, and the Rams quickly on the board at the 7:45 mark of the first quarter of play. And right back to the other end. Senators able to answer.
Nichols with a nice little jumper.
Mikey able to tie it up at 2 apiece. Shot off the mark, no good for the Rams, and Nichols comes right back with it. So 2-2 here early. As the Rams jumped out to the 2-0 lead, Nichols able to answer. Brings us to our first tie, 45 seconds into this one. Misty Jones alongside of Mark Gibson. Craig Akers running live stream as the Senators and Rams open up Patoka Lake Athletic Conference action here tonight. And to the rim,
yes,
strong
nice
take. Nice look for Mikey Nichols as he gets the runner to fall. Senators own their first lead of the night at 4-2. Back to the other end. Minton out top, gives it off on the wing left side to Clark. His 3 off the mark, no good. Bosley to track down the long offensive rebound against Mars. They'll kick it back out. Lawson will reset against Bousman as they send it over to Sears. Now back out to Lawson near the center circle as he holds on that purple P at midcourt. Minute and a half gone by, first quarter of play. Again, Senators out to the 4-2 lead. Sears holds right wing across from us. They isolate Bosley in the post. Kick back to the corner. Sears, corner pocket. Shot won't fall. Rebound tracked down by Green. Parker tries to go through the legs. Ball tipped away. First turnover of the night as Parker loses the handle. And that, again, will be the first giveaway of the game for either squad. And Coach Smith's group will have to reset defensively at the 6:20 mark. Senators again leading at 4-2. A little matchup zone. And Bousman able to tip it. It goes off of the backboard. Looked like it touched the back foam, or maybe he tipped it off the foam.
I think he came from out of bounds.
Did he?
Holden tipped it, and he came without establishing himself, in bounds. So it's a really nice play by the gangly-armed Holden Bousman.
Couldn't really tell through the net and through the backboard if he was able to deflect it or not. But the Rams turn it over for their first time after the Senators' first giveaway. So they trade baskets early, giveaways early, and rolling up on the 6-minute mark of this first quarter. Senators tried to expand on their lead, and they cannot as Nichols throws it away, trying to give it on the pick and roll to Mars. So turnover number 2 for the Senators. And the Rams come back quickly into the front court. Sears controls right side to the trailer, Minton. Minton now over to Clark, left side, back out top. Lawson, deep 3, way off the mark, no good off the back iron. Mars strong on the defensive glass, pulls down the board. Paoli will fall back, and they'll match up in a little half-court man-to-man defense to start things out. Now they'll run and jump Holden out front, forces him to give it up now to Nichols, to Green. Now back to Bousman. Bousman controls on the right side, crosses over against Clark. Right side, nowhere to go. Leaves it off for Mars. 15-footer, draws nothing but air. And coming out there with it, Sears and company. Back to the other end, lost control. Lawson had nowhere to go with it. Turnover number 2 for the Rams. And the Senators will try to slow things up and get a good one on this possession. 3 minutes in nearly to this first quarter of play. Senators lead at 4-2. Bousman takes a screen, gives it now to Sanford off the roll on the left side. Takes it strong, and he'll draw contact. It looks like against Bosley for the game's first foul of the night.
Senators doing a nice job. You can really tell Paoli, they want to get out and run. I mean, through the first 3 minutes, they are really wanting the tempo to be as fast as they can be. And Senators, for the first 3 minutes, have done a nice job controlling that.
Bosley was there at the scene of the crime, but they're going to attack Jordan Clark with the personal, our first of the night. We're going to also see our first substitution as Mars is going to check out of the ball game. And Dakota Smith, a 6-foot junior, checks in for his first minutes of the night. Sanford's first free throw was good, but missed the second one. Senators come up with a big offensive rebound, though.
Parker Green.
3-point lead for West Washington as we dip under 5 minutes to play in the first. Bousman, deep three, right side in front of Coach Cole. Offensive rebound, nice glass work by Sanford. Back to Bousman on the give and go. His shot blocked. There to fight for it, though, against Bosley. He couldn't come up with his own rebound. Bosley comes out with it for the Rams. He'll get it as the trailer. Deep three, works against Smith. That in and out, no good. Nice follow, though, by Clark. And Jordan Clark with his first two of the night makes it now a 5-4 advantage West Washington. Early stages here, we'll see this little run and jump trap in the half court and near steal on the deflection by Clark. Coach Cole will run about 6 different defensive looks between half court and three-quarter court. We'll see substitutions here. And as number 34, Jacob Babcock, a 6'3 senior, checks in and gives Sears a breather. We'll also see Minton check out of the ball game as well. Babcock into the ball game. Also into the ball game for the Rams, 24, Dawson Easterday, 6'2", and a senior. Substitutions early for both squads. Nichols feeds baseline right side to Smith. His pass deflected away. Good active hands for the Rams on the defensive side of the ball. Another substitution this time for West Washington. Sanford will come out after some early Windex work on the glass at both ends. He'll get a breather, and Gavin Smith will check in, a 6'2 sophomore at 4.7 per game for Coach Smith. Nichols crosses over, gets in the paint, feeds to Green, right side, three, won't go, in and out, no good. Nice offensive board for Gavin Smith. He goes up strong. And we're going to have contact and a foul. This is going to be team foul number 2 against the Rams. Senators yet to commit a personal. And for the Rams, they're having trouble right now trying to secure the defensive glass. This one's going to go against Dawson Easterday, so he has no problem making his way quickly into the box score with a personal. And Gavin Smith checks to the line for 2. Couldn't get the shot to fall on the year. 0 for 1 coming into tonight, so Gavin makes amends for that lone loss and sinks them both here. So Senators stretch the lead back out to 3. It's 7-4. Another lob underneath for Bosley. Bosley can't finish, really awkward angle. Senators able to control the defensive glass as Holden will be left alone. Nichols comes back to help him. Now they'll feed in the corner to Smith. Dakota looking to go baseline, instead kicks it back out to Bousman. Bousman to Nichols, back to Bousman. He'll split a double team, tries to get through it. Couldn't dribble himself out of trouble. And to the other end, it leads to a layup. And the layup's going to go for Lawson. Those shifty, quick hands makes it 7-6. 3:23 to go in a game where maybe a lot of people thought a more experienced, older Rams team might run away with this one in that first period of play. But the Senators hanging tough here early and doing some of the things we talked about in our keys to victory. You know, we've limited some of their really good open looks. I feel like thus far we've been able to adjust. Had a couple of turnovers, 3 here early on. And then I thought we've done a really nice job even on the glass, really limiting how many second chance opportunities the Rams get.
Yeah, actually they've got a couple of offensive boards, but so far in the quarter, the Senators lead the rebounding margin 6-4. So yeah, that's on one of those points I was worried coming in that we wouldn't be able to keep them off the board, but we're doing a good job. Dakota Smith has come in, been pretty active, as well as Gavin Smith. So the Smith brothers are doing the job so far coming in.
30-second timeout by Coach Smith to reset things. They work against 1-2-2. Full court pressure, and Mikey Nichols comes to the other end, and Mikey with 7 quick ones here in this opening period of play makes it a 10-6 ball game. And perhaps I spoke too soon after the three-pointer by Nichols at the other end. Senators failed to close out off the shot attempt, and the Rams go to work on the glass. Jacob Babcock doing some work on the rebounding.
An issue, all night. We got to limit their second chance points.
Now on that rebounding effort, he earns a trip to the free throw line. Able to knock down the first, make it 10-7, 3:06 to play, first quarter. Gavin Smith checks out. He gets some fire from Coach Smith. And Nick Mars checks back in. Babcock sinks them both. That's his first 2 of the night. Make it now 10-8. Facing that full court pressure again. 1-2-2 full court pressure.
And we just have to be patient. I mean, we just, like I said, they're trying to get us to up the pace of just a little bit. Got to be patient, make the right passes, and you'll be fine.
We got Sears, who's pretty long and athletic, pretty strong as well, out on top of that 1-2-2 full court pressure. Senators able to break it, though, and make it into the front court safely. Mars, turnaround jumper, way off the mark, no good, hard off the back iron. Quickly, the Rams into the front court, nice feed ahead, and Babcock gets his first field goal of the night. That makes it 10-10, and we're tied for the second time in this first quarter of play, and Coach Smith, we thought we saw some fire out of him when Gavin Smith checked out. He's letting everybody taste a little bit of the flame right now coming off of that tongue. 2:41 to play. First quarter, 10-10. And Coach Smith has already burned both of his 30-second timeouts in this opening period of play. Again, we want to remind fans of a couple of notes. First of all, Coach Clayton Sullivan's JV squad plays really well for the better part of 3 quarters. Falls apart there toward the end. They lose it tonight, 51-34, to fall to 2-2 on the season. Good news is he'll have a chance to bounce back with his young group of JV stars, as tomorrow night the Senators get their first taste of a double-dip weekend. They go back into the friendly confines finally after a three-game road trip, and they'll be back at home against Trinity Lutheran tomorrow night as Nick Mars, breaking pressure, gets the feed down low and finishes around the basket. Senators regain the lead and a nice defensive stop as Bausman will bring it back against Sears. Sears will back up and say, bring it up, young fellow. We'll wait for the trap in the half court. They find Green in the corner, back out to Bausman. Freshman to freshman connection on the right side of the floor to Nichols. Nichols tried to thread the needle between 4 white jerseys. That's a no-no. Turnover number 4. Back to the other end. Quick crossover for Lawson, and he has to kick it back out. Minton back into the ball game as well. Ashton Minton has played since a freshman. Actually started as a freshman, 6'2" and a junior, but he loses the handle on the dump down. And coming out of there with it is Nichols and company for the boys in blue as West Washington leads it 12-10. Green, 17-foot jumper in and out, no good. Mars to fight for the rebound, had it poked away from behind. Good work on the glass, though, as he keeps it alive for West Washington. Sanford will check back in. Harrison gives a breather to Dakota Smith. And we'll also see Jordan Clark check back in for Coach Cole's group. Minute 38 to play, first quarter. This young Senator squad learning on the fly and learning in some tough environments.
But they keep battling, and that's the key.
They keep battling, and a rare three-pointer. That one for Nick Mars. How about that? The big man steps out, shows some range. He's got 5. Senators, largest lead thus far at 15-10. Senators working.
Senators back in the zone as
little,
well.
Little match-up zone look. Now they'll match up half court and doing a nice job of really trading off the screens, communicating. We talked about that. Communication will be big. 3-ball way off the mark. No good for Dawson Easterday, and the Senators come out with yet another stop and another board. Perhaps some frustration starting to set in for this older Paoli club. Under a minute to play. Miss on the steal attempt by Clark, and Bausman's 3 will go over the backboard. Had an open look at it. Coach Smith going to give some instruction to his freshman point man. Easterday will check out after missing that 3-point attempt on the last trip down for the Rams, and Bosley, the freshman, will come back in for West Washington.
Paoli
it's Nichols, Green, Bausman out there with Mars and Sanford.
Went for the steal. It was an open look, but we had them 5 on 4. That's one like in the opening that coach said, don't settle for the 3, maybe do something a little bit towards the rim.
Minton picked up by Green. Senators matching up now and trying to get one more stop here to close out this first quarter. Nice little loop around in the high post off the dribble drive by Sears. Finds Minton, who dumps it down low, and a nice finish underneath by Babcock. Give him 6 in the period, and he draws the Rams to within 3 at 15-12. 15 seconds to play. Half-court trap for West Washington. Bowsman controls, gives it off in the corner to Mars. He screens it cross-court and nearly takes the head off of a couple of Paoli cheerleaders as that flies into the front row of the cheer block, decked out in their best camouflage attire tonight for the Rams.
Yeah, better serve,
substitutions.
to be patient, take that last shot. You had the 3-point lead, but he was trying to cross-court it and kind of sailed on it.
Fifth turnover of the quarter for the Senators. Nichols will check out. Caden Abels will check in for his first minutes of the night. Last possession of the quarter. Lawson nowhere to go, hits the side of the backboard on the shot attempt. Maybe it got deflected, who knows. He had nowhere to go once he went airborne. 1 second left. Just get it in and don't give up something silly here, and they do.
Oh.
As Harrison Sanford catches and flings it from just beyond half court, and that's the way the first period will end. Senators with the advantage on the road, 15-12. How about that? Take that, naysayers. Senators hanging tough. We'll come back with second quarter action right after this. You're listening to the Senators and Rams at Patoka Lake Athletic Conference action here on your leader for Southern Indiana sports, WSLM.
We hear it more and more when people talk about sports. We need to change the culture. No more integrity taking a backseat to performance. No more players, coaches, and fans run amok. No more too big to fail. It sounds good. It sounds reasonable. Come to think of it, it sounds like high school sports. At the Indiana High School Athletic Association, we know that sports are just part of a student-athlete's overall education and that there's more to the game than winning. We also know that high school sports are incredibly exciting. They're rich with tradition and bring communities together like nothing else. In a word, they're pure. More and more, that's what people want. High school sports. Pure spirit, pure sport. This message brought to you by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, the IHSAA, and the high schools in this community.
Senators lead it after 8 minutes of play. Long way to go in this one, but again, a game where probably a lot of people thought, playing a very experienced, very strong athletic club. They think back to football season. They try to maybe tie one thing to the other, and while the Rams had success, as bad as I hate to say it, on the gridiron against the boys in blue, tonight trying to serve up a little bit of revenge on the hardwood as they lead it by 3 after the first quarter, and Mars gets bumped on the baseline. Minton throws his hands out, and Ashton says, hey, wait a second, don't agree with that. Farnsley going to whistle him for the personal, and that will be team foul number 3 against the Rams. And for Minton, that's going to be his first personal. Mars will check out.
It's a nice aggressive move to the baseline, though. It's such, they're running that jump, the trapping style defense. They're trying to get us to up the pace, but that was a nice aggressive take by Mars.
Not a lot of fouls in that first quarter of play, 3 in fact. And we're going to have a whistle and a foul as Bosley trying to hound out front. Worked the pressure against Nichols, got pegged for the personal, so Bosley picks up his first, team foul number 4. And the Senators will toss it to the backcourt. Senators open up the period with Gavin Smith, Harrison Sanford, Parker Green, Mikey Nichols, and Caden Abels, a rare lineup for Coach Smith. We haven't seen much of this group of 5 as Parker Green misses the little hook from the mid-post. Couldn't get it to go, went about halfway down and spit back out. 7:21 and counting second quarter. Senators still leading it 15-12. No score yet in this second period, and the ball deflected out of bounds. Good hands for West Washington as Dietrich Sears will check back into the ball game. Jordan Clark will have a break for the Rams. It's Babcock, Sears out there with Minton, Bosley, and Lawson.
Yeah, Gavin Smith did a nice job there. They tried to backdoor and he got a hand on it.
They get it into to Sears rather on the lob pass, and they have to bring it back out. Couldn't get a quick hitter off the inbounds play. Get it to Lawson now, left side, back out top to Sears. Sears very athletic off the dribble. Will look to go, has freedom on that baseline. Corner shot won't go. Nice follow by Minton. He couldn't get the follow, but on the second offensive rebound for Minton, he gets the one-hand tip in. And for Ashton, that's his first points of the night for Paoli. He makes it 15-14. Senators clinging to a 1-point edge. Jake Strange, 6'4" freshman, will check in next dead ball for West Washington. Kick out off the mid-post feed to Smith. He gets it right back on a feed from Sanford and left that one way short. Minute and a half gone by in the period into the other end. Babcock beats everybody back in blue. He's got 8 in this first half, and the Rams have reclaimed the lead tonight at 16-15 here in this second period of play. Back to the other end, Nichols, no ball fake, had it swatted out of bounds by the long wingspan of 6'5" freshman Brett Bosley. And Jake Strange will check in, again 6'4" and a freshman, along with Holden Bousman, 6 foot and a freshman, 9.5 a game. Jake averages 4 per game for the Senators. That's going to bring out Green and Gavin Smith.
Senators going a little bit smaller here. It'll be interesting to see on the defensive end how that matches up.
Nichols brings it right side to Bousman. He'll take a screen from Strange. Nice spin move. He's hounded out front, though, by Babcock and forced to give it up. They'll try screen and roll on the left side, splitting 2 guys. Nichols, he leaves it off for Sanford. He hits the little rainbow jumper. Little one-hand flip. Had just enough arch to get over the outstretched arms of the defender, and the Senators reclaim the lead at 17-16 in what's been a fun one thus far. Nice reverse layup on the baseline, left side by Babcock. He's now in the double figures with 10, and back and forth we go in this ping pong match, 18-17. Rams with the 1-point lead. Senators will spread the floor, little 4 corners action. Coach Smith told me earlier today this is a game they want to keep upper 40s. Low to mid 50s at most. Paoli probably wanting to get it up into the mid to upper 70s. They average nearly 70 a game at that. As a matter of fact, just a half point shy. Ball deflected out of bounds. And now we'll see some half court pressure. Sears out top. And Abels will finally cross the timeline. Goes crossover against Bosley. Tried to leave it off. One-hand flip wouldn't work for the pass. That's turnover number 6, first turnover of the period. Senators scrambling to get back defensively. Nice drive by Sears. There's that athleticism we talked about. Sears has his first 2 of the night, make it now 20-17. Rams with a 3-point edge, their largest lead of the night.
And we saw how quickly that turnover turned into points the other way. Have to take care of the ball against a good team like this.
Nichols nowhere to go, double team, forced to kick it out to Harrison Sanford, to Holden, now over to Abels. Abels tried to feed it baseline to Strange. He bobbled it, lost it through the legs. Turnover number 2 of the period. There's 6 now of the half. Senators with 6 turnovers. Good news for them, only 1 foul thus far. Abels checks out of the ball game, Green back in. So the Senators right now with 3 freshmen, a junior and a sophomore underneath. Easy pickings for the 6'5" freshman, Brett Bosley. He's got his second field goal. 22-17, Rams now extend the lead to 5, their largest of the night.
Senators have to do something to stop the bleeding here.
Green trying to work against the double team, and he's going to step out of bounds as he worked against Bosley. And Sears on the far side in that trap. Turnover number 8 for West Washington. Halfway point of the second quarter. 4:03 to play before the half. It'll be a full timeout for Coach Smith, leaving him with just 2 the rest of the way. But again, 4:03 to go. Senators trailing it by 5 at 22-17. We'll step aside, take a break, and come back with more right after this.
Hey, honey, is this your course schedule for the fall?
Yep.
Let me see here. English, good. Chemistry, trigonometry, excellent. World history, I love world history. Baseball? Wait, baseball? Baseball isn't a course, honey.
Well, sure it is, Mom. High school sports are about so much more than winning and losing. They teach lessons that can't be taught in a classroom, like accountability and self-discipline, the value of teamwork. I may not be earning a grade, but I'm learning how to compete later in life. Isn't that what getting a good education is all about?
Yes, of course it is. I was just testing you.
What can teenagers here in Indiana learn from participating in high school sports? Plenty, as it turns out. That's why they're called education-based athletics.
High school sports. There's so much more than just a game.
This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
While we have a moment, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. You're listening to Senator Basketball.
When you're listening to IU Sports, you need to be locked in on WSLM 97.9 FM, your home for IU Sports.
Rams have it out of the break. Again, leading at 22-17. Bosley controls now against Sanford on the left wing. Gave it up to Minton. Bosley gets it back. Looking in the post. They tried to feed Babcock. Nice job of fronting and helping in the post. Bousman with the near steal. Rams able to save the possession as Lawson controls out front against Nichols. They go back in the mid post. And coming to offer help again to Bosley in the mid post. Holden's going to get pegged with the little reach in. And we'll take that one. That's his first, only the second against the team. Check that. That's going to be his second. He had the first one of the game as well. Jake Strange checks out on that last exchange. And Nick Mars back in. Nice, strong defensive board as Green worked against Minton. Nichols will race it up the right side of the floor into the front court, stops the volleyball spike line, gives it back to Holden, back to Nichols. Nichols nowhere to go. Nice feed on the baseline. Sanford lost the handle, though. That'll be turnover number 4 of the period. Now 9 in the game. Coming up on the 3-minute mark to the other end. Nice, strong take to the rack. Lawson able to finish with strength and speed as he gets to the rim, lays it in, and now it's a 24-17 lead for the Rams. Again, Senators hanging tough, but in the midst of a drought right now offensively. Holden with a hesitation dribble. Nice feed cross court as he able to thread that one somehow to the cross block. Across the lane to Harrison Sanford. Sanford's got his second bucket of the night, give him 5. Overall, it's 24-19. Bosley works against Sanford. Air ball from 3. And going to the floor was Nick Mars, battling on the far side against Babcock for the rebound. Ball goes out of bounds, and it will stay with West Washington. Wasn't sure if Mars touched that or not. We'll have another substitution. Garrett Vincent, a 6'1 senior, will check in for his first minutes of the night. Bosley will check out. Babcock also checks out of the ball game. Sears out there with Clark, fresh back into the ball game. Lawson, Vincent, and Minton. Little floater wouldn't go for Holden, and then we're going to have a foul.
That's got to count the basket, too.
Parker hit the shot, but the whistle was for Harrison Sanford hitting the deck, and he hit it hard. Foul's going to go against the Rams. That's going to be team foul number 5.
I'm not real sure what.
And for Ashton Minton, that's going to be his second personal. Haven't put it on the board yet. Now there's confusion. The official's going to talk about it. It's 24-19 right now on the scoreboard. Gary Wiedemann and Mike Paoli going to talk with Brian Farnsley and
well,
get this
sure
one
seemed
straight.
like the ball was out of Parker's hand, so it just depends on when he thinks he blew the whistle or not, I guess. But that sure seemed like the basket could count. I'm not real sure how the call got called.
Basket is good.
Sanford looked like he took the worst of the.
Pauli able to come out of that little conference of the officials, and now Coach Cole going to get a word with Wiedemann to get an explanation. Maybe he didn't see the basket go in, but he's going to argue the case anyway. Basket's good, makes it 24-21, 2:26 to go on the game reset.
Need to do some battling down here on the defense. There for a second, it was trouble time for a little bit for the Senators, and they went on a 12-2 run. Now a couple of baskets here by the Senators, so you got to get some stops here. You got 2.5 basically to see what you can do, get done here at the end of the half. You want to have good mojo, like you always say, going into half.
Coach Smith getting the Senator fans down in the lower portion of the gym fired up behind his team as he gets into the defensive stance and gets the clap going. Coming up on the 2-minute warning, 3-point ball game, low-scoring affair right where the Senators won it. Playing pretty well defensively. Nice challenge at the rim by Mars, and somehow, though, the Rams able to get that one to fall. That one for Vincent, his first basket of the night. Make it now 26-21, back to a 5-point game. Dangerous pass by Nichols to Green, nearly had it stolen away. Mars then, another dangerous pass. A lot of dangerous passes here as Green gave it back on the give and go to Mars, who was cutting baseline. Awkward shot attempt, kind of lost control of it, but got fouled on his way up, and Nick Mars to the free throw line on the year, 7 of 12 for 58%. And this one's going to go against Dawson Easterday. That's his second personal. And Mars steps to the free throw line and calmly knocks down the first attempt. Give him now 6 in the half, 26-22. Sears will check out, Babcock back in. Mars' second attempt on the way. Dakota Smith's checked back into the ball game as well for West Washington. Mars knocks them both down. Give him 7 now.
Paoli pushing it up again a little bit.
26-23, coming up on a minute and a half to play. Lawson left side, trying to go down low and hit Easterday on the block. They couldn't find the range. Instead, they'll kick it out. And it's Babcock who knocks down the little 14-foot jumper just inside the right elbow.
He's had a big second quarter.
He has 6 points in the period, 12 overall in the half. Make it 28-23, back to a 5-point decision. Kick out from the post. Mars able to get it out safely to Nichols. He'll drive now, kick back to Mars. Baseline jumper. Left side will go, and Mars, he has 9. Big half for the senior big for West Washington. 1 minute to play before the half. Again, Senators hanging tough, 28-25. Coach Smith liking what he sees, encourages the fans to stand again and get behind their squad. And a 3-ball way off the mark, no good for Clark. Nice rebound for Dakota Smith. Green gets it, gives it back to Holden to Nichols, and he'll bring it down to the front court. Works it left side, no need to rush things, 40 seconds to go. Bousman stops, pops, got fouled from behind, no whistle. Missed the shot, and coming out of there with it. The Rams quickly back to the other end, and an and one, just what you can't have. Little swing here, and Coach Smith will have a word with Holden. Looked like he got hit from behind, though, on the shot attempt. Lawson able to come out there off the outlet with it, race it to the other end, and get an and one opportunity. He's got 6.5, looking for number 7. 30-25, 29.7 on the clock in this first half of play. Garrett Vincent checks out of the ball game. Free throw on the way for Lawson, no good. Rebound fought for. We're gonna have a rebounding foul, and I
think it's on Dakota.
I think they're gonna get Dakota working against Babcock here, so Lawson couldn't finish. Senator fouls, though, starting to rack up. Dakota picks up his first of the night. That's team foul number 5. And they're going to say that was on a shot attempt, but it looked like there was no control. They were just fighting for the board off the glass. They're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Jacob Babcock to the line, hits the first. He's just a 43% free throw shooter. Lawson's a 76, and he missed his. Go figure.
That's a big swing. I mean, he misses the free throw. We could have had the last shot. Could have made it a one-possession game at half. Would have been feeling nice going into the locker room. And then we don't get a check out, and we foul.
31-25, though, still within range, 6-point lead. Babcock will try to make it 7. Just under a half minute to go. That one rattles home. So his big half continues. He's now got 14. 32-25. Rams lead it. Ball deflected away. Full court pressure for Coach Dusty Cole's group. Trying to force maybe one more turnover and get one more basket before they head to the locker room. Nice press break, though. Nichols gives it up to Holden. Holden high off the glass, able to finish. He's got his first 2 of the night. Senators trying to race back. Try to set the defense. 10 seconds to play. 32-27, 5-point game. It's been a dandy of a first half, in the words of Parker Green. Kick to the corner. Clark, fadeaway 3, right side! Bullseye! The Rams throw the dagger into the heart of that Senator defense to close out the first half of play. Clark fading away to his left and back. Gets Paoli's only triple of the first half of play, and it is a huge one because it sends the Rams to the locker room with their largest lead at 35-27, and that's the way the old ball bounces sometimes. Senators coming up just short on a couple of key possessions down the stretch, but well within striking distance here. Again, not a bad half for them at all, and a fairly low-scoring half, 35-27. We'll see what they've got coming out of the halftime break. We'll step aside. Coach Gibson and I will start crunching some numbers, and we'll come back to begin our Senator halftime report, brought to you by the fine folks just south of the square at Eddie Gilstrap Motors. in Salem. Stick with us. You're listening to the Senators tonight on Salem's 1220.
We hear it more and more when people talk about sports. We need to change the culture. No more integrity taking a backseat to performance. No more players, coaches, and fans run amok. No more too big to fail. It sounds good. It sounds reasonable. Come to think of it, it sounds like high school sports. At the Indiana High School Athletic Association, we know that sports are just part of a student-athlete's overall education and that there's more to the game than winning. We also know that high school sports are incredibly exciting. They're rich with tradition and bring communities together like nothing else. In a word, they're pure. More and more, that's what people want. High school sports. Pure spirit, pure sport. This message brought to you by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, the IHSAA, and the high schools in this community.
Again, our halftime report brought to you by the good folks just south of the square in Salem at Eddie Gilstrap Motors. You just heard from them. Paoli leads it here at the half. Your score 35-27, but a great first half played. A lot of poise, I think, for the most part. A few times where we had some sloppy or lazy passes against that trapping pressure, but that was to be expected against a very good, a seasoned ball club in Paoli, and I think Coach Smith probably likes where his young guys are at for the most part right now, though they gave up 23 in that second quarter of play. Pretty balanced scoring for the Rams as well at the half. Their starters, Ty Lawson has 6. He was 0 for 1 from the free throw line. Jordan Clark with 5, including that huge three-pointer to end the first half of play. Ashton Minton with 2, Dietrich Sears with 2. Brett Bosley starts tonight in place of Babcock at center. He has 4 in the first half. Babcock, Easterday, and Vincent come off the bench for the Rams. Babcock, though, really the storyline. 14 of the team's 35 in the first half of play. Garrett Vincent chips in 2 off the bench. Easterday plays but is unable to tally. Rams 4 for 5 from the free throw line in that first half of play. And Coach, perhaps the biggest stat for them, no turnovers in that second quarter, only 3 in that first period of play, kind of propelling them into that 23-point effort in the second quarter of action. Meanwhile, for West Washington at the half, they've got pretty balanced scoring as well. Nick Mars had a nice first half for Coach Smith. Holden Bousman with 2 at the half. Mikey Nichols chips in 7, which all came in that first quarter of play. Parker Green has a 2-point basket to his credit in the second period. Harrison Sanford with 5 points, including 1 of 2 from the free throw line. Nick Mars chips in 5 in the first quarter, 4 in the second period for his 9-point total to pace all Senator scorers. And then off the bench, Dakota Smith, Jake Strange, Caden Abels, and Gavin Smith all play in the first half for Coach Smith. Dakota Smith and Jake Strange go scoreless, as well as Caden Abels. Gavin Smith chips in 2 points on 2 of 2 free throw shooting. Senators get to the line just a small number of times. Of course, both teams kind of in that same boat, as the Rams again went just 4 of 5 in that first half of play. Meanwhile, the Senators, not too bad, as they go 5 of 6 for 83%. Senators, though, committing 9 turnovers in that first half of play, although those turnovers have been spread out among the 2 periods thus far, 5 in the first half, 4 in the second period of play. Score after the first quarter, Senators led it 15-12, but then they kind of hit a wall there for a nice little stretch. Rams went on about a 12 or 14-2 run. Took a while for them to kind of stop the bleeding, and that allowed them to extend that lead to where it's at now at 8, 35-27, because they outscored the Senators 23-12 in that second period of play. Coach, you got some additional stats for us as well?
Yeah, that second quarter, I mean, that's what a veteran team does. I mean, they didn't panic, and, you know, 0 turnovers, that's pretty impressive. And for a team, they're playing against a West Washington team that has been getting turnovers by the bucketfuls through the first 3 games, and deflections. That's one thing, you know, we talked about deflections through the first 3 games and how many that the Senators had 5 in the first half. That is definitely a season low, whereas Paoli had 10. You know, that tells me they're a little bit more active defensively. You know, they're playing that run and jump zone. So, I mean, that leads to probably a few more deflections. But we talked about in the pregame about easy buckets. I had the Rams at 14 for 20 inside the arc. That's 70%. So, I mean, you talk about, and they've struggled beyond until that last 3. I mean, they didn't have a 3. They went 1 for 10. So, you know, again, a veteran team say, hey, we're struggling. They're going to keep firing. I mean, that's what they do. But inside the arc, they really did some damage. 14 for 20 for 70%, whereas Senators hit 50%. They were 8 of 16, so, you know, it wasn't bad. 2 of 6 from 3. Like you said, rebounds was even, 11-11. They had 6 offensive, but I don't think they really hurt. They had a couple of putbacks, but really it didn't hurt us that bad. So on the boards, that was one of our keys too. We battled right with them, 11-11. Assists, they have 9. Senators have 8. 3 steals for the Senators, 4 for Paoli, so pretty even. So, you know, other than them getting a lot, it looks like they got to the rim more than the Senators did.
The coach, you mentioned it, as well as they've shot from within the arc. That's where they've had their bread buttered through the first 2 games, because entering tonight, 64% from 2-point range, just 14% from downtown. So making the living and cashing the checks in that first half from where they were able to do it through the first 2 games against Henryville and Lanesville. And that trend continues here against the Senators in this first half tonight. Again, as a reminder, JV fell here tonight to Paoli, 51-34 the final, dropping Clayton Sullivan's JV squad to 2-2 now on the year. But they'll have a chance, as I said earlier, to bounce back. Both teams back in action as we'll finally get back in the friendly confines of Dr. T. Kermit Tower Gymnasium tomorrow night. Senators welcome in a possible sectional 62 foe in the Trinity Lutheran Cougars and Coach Brian Stuckwish as they come to town from Seymour. And they're a team right now on the struggle bus defensively. They give up about 90 a game. Bad news is not only do they give up a bunch, but they can also score a bunch, because it was a game against Austin. I believe the score was something like 104-95, 96. Crazy game the other night up at Trinity Lutheran, but a team that we'll have to be on our toes against tomorrow night, especially in our first double dip weekend of the season. Coach Gibson and I will take a break. We'll come back to begin the third quarter of action here at Chambers Gymnasium. Senators and Rams getting after it tonight in conference play, the conference opener for both clubs. But before that,
this just in. Despite what you may have heard, life is a game. Really. Anybody that says otherwise has never played a sport. Think about it. Sports teach us useful life lessons. Sayings like, hard work pays off, patience is a virtue, and there are no shortcuts take on a whole new meaning once you've played sports. Competition toughens us up, too. It forces us to push ourselves, and it reminds us not to take anything in life for granted. At the end of the day, when the final whistle blows, sports teach lessons that can make us better athletes and teammates. More importantly, they teach us lessons that can help prepare us for life. So yeah, life is a game, And each of the more than 160,000 high school athletes in Indiana is better off for playing. High school sports. Pure spirit, pure sport. This message brought to you by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the high schools in your community.
Back to begin the third quarter of play. Paoli gets it to start the half, operating with their largest lead of the night at 35-27. Very patient here, little double high post action with Minton and Bosley. They'll now spread the floor and go with a 5 out. Try to curl a guy around off this baseline, little slip screen. Can't get anything as Clark now feeds down low to Minton. Ashton can't finish for the Rams, but he will go to the free throw line as we'll have a quick foul here to open up the half. This one against West Washington.
Is that 3 on Holden?
And if that is Holden's personal, that will be his third. It is indeed. First foul of the half for either team. Holden picks up his third. He's been able to stay out of foul trouble through the first 3 games. Facing a little bit of adversity right here as Minton goes to the free throw line. Holden gets one in on Ashton. Trying to come up with a little bit of a block, caught her the arm, and Minton makes Holden pay with a couple of free throws made, and it's the first double-digit lead of the night for the Rams at 37-27. Senators, though, break the pressure, three-quarter court, able to get it safely into the offensive end as Nichols controls above the volleyball spike line, sends it cross court to Bousman. He drives baseline, feeds it off to Sanford, who would have turned and had a wide open layup. Wasn't aware of the defender though and where he was at on his back hip. Decided to kick it out, and the Senators pretty passive with the ball, and Parker gets called for the double dribble.
Yeah, I could just see it. He kind of thought it was just a bobble, but that was tough. That was a tough call.
Senators with a foul and a turnover, not the way you want to come out of the locker room, trailing by 8. Now make that 10 though after those free throws by Minton, and they'll try to isolate down low. They get it to Bosley. Looked like he might have got away nearly with a double dribble. Nice block from behind. Our team leader in blocks, Nick Mars, gets a swat from behind on Minton, giving the ball right back to West Washington. Breaking the pressure, nice feed as Harrison Sanford had it in the front court, missed the shot. Rams come out there with it from Bosley. And we're gonna have a charge call. Nice job as Mikey Nichols gets back. He takes contact, and Dusty gonna let Brian Farnsley hear about it.
That was a good call. He had squared him up, and he dipped the shoulder a little bit. That's just nice defensive play.
Lawson gets his first. Team foul number 1 for the Rams. That'll also go as a turnover. Again, the Rams with 3 in the first quarter. Didn't give it up, though, one time in that second period, which kind of contributed to that 23-point quarter. Senators bobble it in the press break, and now we're going to have a foul to compound problem, so Will's starting to fall off just a little bit for West Washington. As the Senators pick up their second personal of the half. This one's going to go on Parker Green, and that'll be his first of the night. 37-27, 3-ball from the wing. Nothing but the bottom of the barrel for Jordan Clark. Picking right up where he left off to end the half with that big 3. Answers with another one, and now it's a 40-27 advantage. Senators need to get something going and quick on the offensive end. Kick ball out front. Sears tries to punt the pass away from Bousman to Green. Senators open up the half with their original 5, but we've already had substitution. Dakota Smith in for Harrison Sanford. 1-2-2, half-court pressure. Smith able to save it off the deflection. Bousman controls out front, gives it out on the right wing now to Nichols. His pass deflected.
Sears is doing an unreal job at the top of that zone getting deflections.
He is, but we're making it a lot easier for him than it should be with lazy passes as the Senators can't get anything on that trip. Rams will come right back. Minton thought about 3 against Green. Instead, kicks it out top now to Lawson and lets him reset. Senators match up. Man-to-man defense here to start the second half of play. Nice crossover. Lawson loses Bousman, and in traffic gets the runner to go off glass. Give Lawson 8 in the ball game. Largest lead of the night. It's ballooned now to 15 at 42-27. Coach Smith, one more time, will go to the first aid kit and see if he can find a Band-Aid big enough to stop the bleeding. 5:20 to play here, third quarter. Again, 42-27 your score. We'll step aside, take a break, and come back with more third quarter action right after.
If an individual student athlete or team wins a high school state championship, it's an amazing thing.
And it goes in! It goes in!
It's also just the icing on the cake. That's because young people in Indiana who participate in education-based athletics are already winners. Studies show that win or lose, participation helps to impart skills they can use to enjoy greater success in other areas of their lives. School sports teach the benefits of teamwork, the value of self-motivation, and the importance of accountability. They also help to foster stronger work habits and higher levels of self-esteem. In other words, the true value of school sports can't be measured in terms of wins or losses. If an individual or team goes to state, it's an incredible accomplishment. But regardless of the outcome, today's student athletes are already destined to go far. School sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Now to Dakota Smith, and he hits a little jumper, and that finally puts a stop to the bleeding, at least momentarily, as Dakota's got his first 2 of the night. On the year, Dakota averaging 2.7.
For 3 games, how the Senator team has battled. You know, the score's kind of getting a little bit away from them. Let's see how well they battle now.
Deep 3 for Clark. Again, this one won't go as he was starting to feel it a little bit. And now trouble as Ashton Minton was fighting Holden for the rebound on the far side, and Minton got tangled up with Holden's feet. And Ashton's going to have to come out. Minton with the sprain of the ankle, and he looks like he's in a lot of pain.
Score here, and you get a little bit of confidence back. You know, 2 straight possessions, but a bad pass by Holden through there.
Turnover number 12 of the game. Senators trying to get a stop. They get a block shot, but with that comes a foul. Caden Abels will check in. And Senators, again, compound the problem after a turnover. They commit a personal as well. That's going to be the second on Parker Green. So him and Holden accounting for the 3 fouls here in this third quarter for West Washington. 4:36 to go in the period. Abels checks in. Bousman will get a breather. 43-29, and he'll get some instruction now and guidance from Coach Smith on the sideline.
To make sure we check out here.
Sears hit the first and missed the second one, so give him 3 on the night. Makes it now 43-29. Senators back into the front court. We're gonna have a whistle and a foul out front. Clark getting a little too handsy with Caden Abels off the dribble. This will be team foul number 2 against the Rams in the half. Clark will pick up his second personal. And the Senators reset. They get it into the front court. Nichols kicks corner to Dakota Smith. Back out to Nichols. Another dangerous pass. These quick hands, and Nichols throws it right into a white jersey. Turnover number 4 of the half. Now 13 in the game. To the other end, Sears. Back out to Bosley. His 3 won't go, and over the back. All he needed was a little bit of protective equipment, maybe a helmet and a harness, because he was definitely climbing the mountain there, going over the back of Dakota Smith. And Clark picks up back-to-back personals quickly. 3 on him, 3 for the team in this half. And he will set down, take a breather. Sears out there with Lawson. Also into the game now, Dawson Easterday with Bosley and Babcock for West Washington. Holden back into the ball game out there with Abels, Green, Mars, and Smith underneath. Dakota couldn't finish the layup. Got to hit those. Holden with the near steal in transition, though. Nick comes up with the steal in the front court for Paoli, and now the Senators bring it to the other end. Turnover number 5 of the game for the Rams. Their second of the half. Mars with another deep shot from downtown in the corner. He likes the right corner pocket. That's his second one from that spot. 1 from each end of the floor. He's got 12 in the game. Make it 43-32. Senator fans not liking that whistle, but there should have been a travel first. This will be another Senator foul. And this one going to be team foul number 4. And this one will go against Nick Mars as he picks up his second. Jake Strange set the check in. Free throw upcoming for Babcock, a 43% free throw shooter. A little long on that one. He was 4 for 4 in the first half. Dakota Smith checks out after the missed bunny on the other end.
Again, at 43, you got to make sure you check out. The last time we did a nice job. We checked out the shooter and ended up getting it over the back or just a nice little tip at rebound. So make sure we check out here.
Oof, I don't even know. That one must have just barely grazed the little eyelet on the rim for the net. As the Senators turn it over, Abels throws it into white jerseys out front. 3:22 and counting, and at the other end, Bosley makes him pay with a layup, give him 6, 2 in each quarter thus far, and it's 45-32, back to a 13-point game. Senators chip away and then give away.
I mean, this is a good defensive ball club, but we are not helping ourselves. How many times have we just thrown just silly passes?
And you made a good point earlier, Coach. Sears is excellent out at the top in that pressure look and that 1-2-2, whether it's full court or half court, but we're making his job look a lot easier without ball fakes.
Yeah, I mean, sooner or later you're going to have to learn. You can't just throw that chest pass right there because he's too athletic and his arms are too long. I mean, some of these passes are just silly.
Rams go to the man-to-man in this half-court set, 2:50 and counting third quarter. And Parker with a wild pass trying to hit the roll man. That was Strange, and even at a 6'4" frame, the freshman had no chance at catching that one. Turnover number 6 of the quarter, now 15 in the game for West Washington. Rams will walk it down. Holden will pick up Lawson, forces him to give it up to Babcock. Now to Bosley mid-post. The kick out and the drive on the baseline right side by Vincent. We'll have another whistle and a Senator foul. This will be team foul number 5. And this one,
Parker, I think,
going to go against Parker Green, and for him, that's his third. So him and Holden with 3 apiece. To inbound, they couldn't get it to Bosley down low. They'll settle for the deep kick out instead to Easterday. Now back to Lawson, and that speed. Ooh, they say speed kills, and it killed us defensively, but luckily he blew the wide open layup. Senators come out of there with it on the rebound. On the kick out from Strange, high post. Bousman couldn't get the 3 to go down. He was wide open. Babcock seals up the defensive glass. To the other end, Lawson back to Babcock. They'll swing it around on the wing now to Easterday. His 3 in and out, no good. Pace starts to quicken just a little bit as Mars claims the defensive rebound. 2-minute warning, third quarter.
Nice bucket here, get you within striking distance here. We've got 2 minutes left to go in the quarter.
Parker Green steps just inside the three-point line, misses everything. Strange, nice offensive rebound, goes back up and in. Nice glass work by Jake Strange. 45-34, and the Rams turn it over.
Rams are trying to let us sneak back into this. Some missed free throws, some turnovers here, you know, some missed layups, but we haven't taken advantage of it so far. But let's see, a minute 44 to go, see if the Senators can crawl back into this one.
And as much as Dusty Cole would like to see the pace quicken, he seems pretty disgruntled right now as they try to give a little give and go, little handoff. Mars tried to feed it back to Holden, who tried to loop around on that right high post elbow, and the ball thrown away. Unable to come up with the handle on it. That's 7 turnovers now in the half. 16 in the game for West Washington, minute 25 and counting third quarter. Vincent with it right side. They feed underneath, and we'll have a foul on the floor. This one will be against Nichols. And Easterday not happy with himself. He had Nichols pinned, couldn't handle it, and on the bobble had to settle for a foul from Nichols. That's team foul number 6, so the Rams will be in the bonus the rest of the way home on the next whistle and foul. Bosley gets it on the inbounds pass, and now they'll try to go to him. Mars battling in the post, freshman versus senior. They're going at it again, and Mars will be whistled for the personal.
It's a tough call. Bosley was fighting for position and kind of lost his balance. And it made it look like Nick pulled him, but I think he just lost his balance.
Bosley's not super strong. Again, just a freshman, but he's got a very long athletic frame, which makes it very difficult. Of course, Nick does as well, but Nick loses the battle in the post. And Gavin Smith's going to check back into the game for West Washington as Mars takes a seat with his third personal. Babcock checks out and into the ball game for the first time tonight for the Rams. Mitchell Radcliffe, 6'3" and a senior, 1 point per ball game. Free throw for Bosley would not go. It was a one and bonus opportunity, but the Rams making the Senators pay for not boxing out. They'll get another shot at it. And on the cross-court kick, Vincent throws it right into the hands of Holden Bousman. Turnover number 7 in the game for the Rams. They had 3 in the first quarter again, none in the second period, but they've given it up already 4 times here in this quarter. And to the drive,
nice
left side to the rim, Caden Abels able to finish.
Crossed him over.
Nice little shifty move for Abels to get his first 2 of the night and shake free.
Coach Smith imploring for one last defensive stand here.
45-36, Senators. They want to keep it within striking distance, and Bosley out of control against Jake Strange. They have battled and battled and battled since elementary. And hanging tough in the post, Jake Strange forces a wild shot by Bosley, and now we'll have a stoppage of play. And I think Mike Paoli's going to overturn the call by Wiedemann. Coach Smith and the Senator faithful do not agree. They're up in the cheap seats behind us here at mid-level, and the ones down below the bench.
That's just a simple case of not checking out, though. I mean, they've had a couple of second chances here. This happened at the end of the first quarter or second quarter, where we could have had the last shot, but for not blocking out, they get it.
Second quarter, 10 seconds to play. Box set, high screen and roll to isolate on the right, and a little runner by Lawson won't go, but a great follow by Mitchell Radcliffe as time's going to expire, and the long heave won't go. And the Senators will roll into the fourth quarter of play, facing a little bit of adversity. They were down 10 to Salem going in to the fourth quarter, and they trailed it going into the fourth quarter at Eastern by 2, but they had made that.
Looking for future leaders we can trust and believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Indiana. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It begins by making their grades and being on time for practice. It includes learning to listen, following directions, accepting responsibility, being a good role model. And it's about respect for officials, opponents, the rules, and each other. The result? It transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. High school sports. There's so much more than just a game. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
To begin the fourth quarter of play here from Chambers Gymnasium, Paoli High School. Paoli leads at 47-36 as we roll into that final period of regulation. Senators open with Bousman, Gavin Smith, Jake Strange, Mikey Nichols, and Caden Abels. Abels leaves it off for Strange, and he has it volleyball swatted. That's a good opportunity for Jake to use some of the stuff he worked on in preseason, a little pump fake and take it to the rack. But instead, shot it flat-footed and had it swatted over toward the Paoli cheer section as they do their roller coaster to start the fourth quarter of play. 47-36, Senators get it back off the block shot by Bosley, out of bounds. Abels controls out front, gives it off to Holden, now to Nichols. Senators trying to be patient on this first good possession here of the period. Abels gets it back from the high post from Jake Strange on the kick out. Senators doing a lot of standing and spectating right now. Gavin Smith spins, baseline, left side, out of control, flings one up. Wild shot, draws nothing but air. So a dry trip for West Washington, and nice take right side. Easterday may have got away with the travel. Comes up with his own rebound off the miss, and we're going to have an and-one opportunity. And not sure they may get Holden for this one. If so, that'll be 4 for him. And West Washington now going to have a couple of substitutions, 3 of them in fact. Gavin Smith's going to check out of the ball game, as well as Holden and Jake Strange. 8th personal whistled against the Senators. 7:06 to play in regulation. Make it 49-36 off the good basket by Easterday, his first points of the night. And he cashes in at the free throw line as well, a 67% free throw shooter. It is now 50-36. Not sure who they pegged that.
Second chance points again.
Thinking they may have got Holden for it. If they got Holden for that last foul, they didn't post it on the board. Not doing a good job of keeping up with the fouls on the scoreboard tonight. Mars is going to drive left side from the high post. Draw a whistle and contact from a Ram defender. This one will go on the Rams. That'll be their fourth. This one will go against Easterday, and that'll be his third. 50-36, Senators with the ball, down 14. About a minute and a half gone by in this fourth quarter.
If they want to make a serious run, it's got to start here. Give some baskets, some
nice feed. Mars couldn't finish it. Great opportunity to try to get an and one. Little old-fashioned three-point play, but that shot rims out. Nice feed, though, from Abels on the screen and roll. That Gonzaga style of motion offense, pick and roll. 6:31 to go. Mars to the free throw line. Entered the game as a 58% free throw shooter. And that first one left it just a bit short. Went 2 for 2 in the first half.
Trying to make a comeback. Those freebies, man, that makes it tough when you can't put those through.
And we have opportunity to score with the clock stopped. Got to convert. Second free throw on the way for Mars. That one good. So give Mars now 13 in the ball game. 50-37. Lawson slows it up. He's had a very subdued night. Just 8 points for him. Gets it back left side. Out there working it out front with Easterday. Garrett Vincent into the ball game. Out there with Mitchell Radcliffe and the freshman Brett Bosley underneath. Nice seal. Easterday having a field day against a smaller Caden Abels. Able to finish around the basket. He's got 5 all in this period. 52-37, back to a 15-point advantage. Nichols has it right side. East Dakota on the roll, and with the drive to the basket, his shot blocked. Nichols will go to the free throw line off the Paoli foul. This will be team foul number 6, I believe.
That's what I thought. That's a good call. I thought it was Bosley reaching in from the backside instead of Easterday.
Bosley picks up the personal. Again, team foul number 6, 8 whistled against West Washington. And Mikey Nichols to the free throw line. Surprisingly enough, Coach, fourth quarter of game number 4 in the season, and that's Mikey's first free throw attempt of the year.
That goes back to Coach's pregame talk. We need to get to the foul. I think you asked him a question for his pregame. We need to get to the foul line more, and that's your guards penetrating.
Hit the first, missed the second. Holden gives chase to Lawson. Now switches off with Mars. Mars forces him to give it up. Easterday filling it with 5 points now in the quarter, make it 8. What a time to come alive for this Paoli offense. 55-38, largest lead of the night. That's 17 for the Rams. Senators continue to battle and claw, though. Harrison Sanford back into the ball game. And we'll have a foul underneath, and this may be Bosley and Mars going at it again.
I think so.
And if so, that's going to be Bosley's third personal and team foul number 7. And that will send the senior Nick Mars to the free throw line on the night, 3 of 4. Got the one and bonus opportunity. Senators trailing by 17. As Coach mentioned a while ago, got to capitalize with the clock stop. Able to do so on the first attempt.
And again, it was at 15-16 at one point. We battled a little bit, getting it back down to 10 or 11. Can they keep battling?
Yep.
Can they keep battling? And that's what Coach Smith is wanting to see, obviously.
Mars got them both to go, so it's back to 15 at 55-40. Easterday has been filling it on the offensive end, but there gets the dime, and Lawson there on the lob backside drops it into the piggy bank. He's now in the double figures with 10 of his own, and we'll see a 4-man substitution here. Babcock, Minton back in with Sears and Clark. Turnover again for West Washington, and Bosley gets the slam. That's his third dunk of the season already. Freshman got a leak-out opportunity. 59-40, largest lead of the night for the Rams. Jake Strange will check back in as well, as this one's starting now to get out of control a little bit.
And it all started again with, I thought, a lazy pass. I mean, he got the tip and then ran out.
Holden's three in and out, no good. He's had several open looks, but just could not get any to go down. And Radcliffe to the other end, nice feed to him. He's got 4 on the night, 61-40. Kind of go back and just running different things through my mind here from this game, especially in that first half, Coach. And I really feel like at 3 kind of set the tone for Paoli coming out. Senators with another miss, and to the other end, it's a 3-on-2 break, and Lawson with that speed finishes. He's got 12 in the game, and Coach Smith's seen enough. 63-40, largest lead of the night, as the experience, the strength and speed of Paoli's upperclassmen just kind of taking over right now.
That's
full timeout for Coach Smith, his final one of the night.
Momentum definitely switched there. And, yeah, going back to what you were saying, yeah, that 3 at the end of the half was huge. But then some turnovers, and then maybe it's momentum or we are a little bit gassed or something, but they've had 3 or 4 runouts right in a row. And I don't know if that's, like I said, because of momentum or we're tired or something that Coach isn't very happy about.
Let's step aside and get a quick sponsor, and we'll come back with more right after this.
Looking for your next new or used car? Then head on down and check out the deals at John Jones Auto Group in Salem, Corydon, Scottsburg, and Greenville. Whether you visit the lot and take a test drive or visit the virtual showroom online at johnjonesautogroup.com, you'll find the largest selection of GM cars in Kentuckiana. Whether it's a car, truck, or minivan, John Jones Auto Group has something to fit your style and your budget. Bad credit? No problem. We will find the financing that's right for you. At John Jones, we pride ourselves at finding the right deal for your situation. Call or visit today, 1-800-473-5546, or go online at johnjonesautogroup.com and check us out on Facebook and Twitter too. John Jones Auto Group, the largest dealer in southern Indiana, serving Salem, Corydon, Scottsburg, Greenville. You see so many because they paid so little.
Senators come out of the timeout. Mikey Nichols with a strong take, left side, able to draw contact. That'll be team foul number 8 for the Rams. And for Jordan Clark, he picks up his 4th. Paoli leads at 63-40, but it was a dogfight through the better part of 3 quarters, just like the JV game, before Paoli decided to start pulling away. And Nichols able to convert 1 of 2. Back to the other end, Senators just looking to play hard here in this final 3 minutes. Don't want to show signs of quitting by any means. Ashton Minton back into the ball game for Paoli after spraining that ankle or tweaking it just a little bit. Senators come up with a near steal. We'll see some substitutions. Garrett Vincent will check back in, as well as Parker Sullivan, a 6'2 sophomore, for his first minutes of the night. We'll also see Mason Buchanan check in. Buchanan's a 6'1 junior. And number 40, Carter Elliott, will check in, a 6'1 junior. So that'll be it for the Rams' main players, their starters and key subs for the night for the most part. They'll start to rest up. They've got a double dip weekend, back-to-back double dips to start the season. And it doesn't get easier for them as they'll be on the road tomorrow night, 2:57 and counting. 63-41. And to the other end, Mikey Nichols able to answer with a 3-point basket, make it 63-44. Deep 3 from the right side, quickly getting after it. Mason Buchanan wanted to try to get his name into the box score. Can't do so, so missed shot will give it back to West Washington. Nearly 2.5 to play here in regulation. like to see this thing get down to around 15, which, you know, a lot of people would say, well, it was 15, but it really wasn't that close. Well, it was tonight. That's why you'd like to see it get back down to something pretty reasonable. And Mikey Nichols, back-to-back threes, able to bank one in. He's got 8 in this period alone. And Mikey cuts it to 16 at 63-47. And Coach Cole says, hey, guys, we put you in to do a job to put this one in the ice box, and right now you guys are letting it defrost pretty quick. 2:24 to play.
Finally see some emotion down. I mean, after when they went on the big run, I didn't see the last time out a whole lot of emotion down in West Washington huddle, but there was a little bit of life there. So, you know, Coach is saying, like you just said, 2:24 to go. Let's see what happens here to see if they battle it. Now we're looking for single digits.
Let's pause quickly. 10 seconds for station identification. You're listening to the Senators on Salem's 1220.
When you're listening to IU Sports, you need to be locked in on WSLM 97.9 FM, your home for IU Sports.
Out of the 30-second timeout by Dusty Cole and his staff. Senators trailing at 63-47. Nichols with the steal and gets yet another basket. So 8 straight, make that 9 straight rather, for Mikey Nichols. And then breaking the press, dribbling straight through it, Garrett Vincent leaves it off underneath for Parker Sullivan, who couldn't finish. And here come the Senators, 63-49. And a three-pointer for Nichols again. Nichols unconscious right now, 12 straight for the junior guard. 63-52. Senators continue to battle, minute 48 and counting. We'll see Lawson come back in. Coach,
try and get him.
There's
we
a
got
travel.
Just as I was getting ready to say, I'd like to put him on the line, see how close we can get this thing, but he travels.
Coach Cole says, hey, young guys, exit stage right. We've seen enough as they check out. It's going to be Clark, Lawson, Bosley, Sears, and Minton, the starting 5 back in. Coach Cole says, you guys have got yours here, but we got to get something going to shut down Nichols. He's put 12 straight on us. Still a minute 42 to go, and crazier things have happened, down 11. And the Senators throw it right away, give it right back. Abel's trying to feed in the front court to Smith, who wasn't looking. And now, the old guys who thought they were going to get a few minutes of rest here at the end, back at it, trying to salt this one away, minute 25 and counting. Bosley goes behind the back. He's going to go up and slam another one. Bosley's got 8 in the game.
That was pretty nasty, but I mean, take the charge. I guess it's a little bit different for you, but
high schoolers don't want to be on a poster, Coach. Another leak out here. Lawson tries to feed to Clark. Jordan Clark couldn't finish on the reverse. Senators come back at it, trying to dribble through traffic. Nichols shows some handles. Gives it off to Dakota Smith. His 3 from the corner hits the side of the backboard. Let's see if Coach Cole says, hey, let's slow it up. So Bosley, the freshman, comes back in with the old guys. Minton's still lipping around out there, but Bosley gets a behind the back against Strange. Nobody slides over to help. He gets another dunk. 65-52. And we'll see. The Senators just let this one play out under 20 seconds. Abels comes out to pick up Lawson. No need to foul here. I know we got people wanting to get in here at the scorer's bench, but no need to foul. There's really no need to let him check in, just to stand there defensively, and that's the way this one's going to end. 65-52. But this Senator squad showed no signs of quit when they were trailing by as many as 23 at one point, 63-40. Senators roar back with 12 straight from Mikey Nichols to make things very interesting, and actually prompted Coach Cole to put his old guys back into the ball game. And we've seen that before a few times in football, where we've tried to bring guys out, maybe try to think that our lead's secure, let some young guys get some minutes, couple of quick scores by a team, couple of quick touchdowns, and boom, it's right back to Coach G saying, hey, let's put that starting unit back out there on the field.
Yeah, that's it. Coach Cole was probably like, okay, this one's in hand, and then he starts to just slips away a little bit, and it starts to be a little bit uncomfortable as a coach. You're like, we're letting this thing slip away, and at the very least, we're not going to have that feel-good feeling, as coming out of it like we should. But again, there was no fight, especially Mikey Nichols, man. There at the end, he's like, no, I'm not done yet. He put on a show for about 2 minutes.
Senators fall here tonight in their conference opener. They slip now to 2-2 on the year. Paoli improves to 3-0, 1-0 in conference play. We're going to step aside, start crunching some numbers. We'll come back to begin our full post-game show coverage here from Chambers Gymnasium. Senators and Rams going at it tonight in the Patoka Lake as Paoli is the victor here this evening. 65-52 the final. We'll come back with that post-game show right after this word from a couple of our sponsors.
Hello, police. I just hit a deer. Well, the deer actually hit me, right? But I need a wrecker for my truck. See, the whole front end is really smashed in. Now, the deer didn't make it, but it sure looks like a 12-pointer. Hey, I'd like to be towed to Eddie Gilstrap Motors Collision Center. Yeah, the one at 1008 West Mulberry Street in Salem. Well, just the other day, Bill, my buddy, he had his Ford Mustang redone there, and it looks like it did back in 1965. Even better. Well, they accept most major insurances, and they work with you to get a rental and get you back on the road with genuine parts for your vehicle. Not like some body shops that make their repairs out of the local junkyard. Yeah, right. Let Paul know it's me and that the truck will be coming in. He's a great guy, and he knows the repair business like the back of his hand. The deer, nah, he's not going to process that. Just the truck. Yeah, Eddie Gilstrap Motors Collision Center, or call Paul at 812-883-3481.
Channel Seedsmanship. It's about being in your fields, giving you expert advice, knowing your fields almost as well as you do, and selecting elite seed products to help maximize your profitability. When it comes to getting the most out of your acres and your operation, put your trust in a Channel Seedsman. For customized service, expert advice, and elite seed products, contact me, Brady Bishop, at 812-620-4624. Go Senators.
Since 1937, Eddie Gilstrap Motors has been proud to call Washington County home. As you cheer for your team tonight, we'd like to thank you for your business and continued support. Best wishes to the Lions, Senators, and Musketeers this season.
Back inside of Chambers Gymnasium in the James Babcock Court here at Paoli High School, where tonight the Senators fall in the conference opener for both clubs. They lose to the Rams 65-52, but it was nothing short of an amazing effort here tonight by the Senator squad. They battled hard for 3 quarters. Wheels come flying off a little bit to begin the 4th quarter. Rams stretch it out to a 23-point edge at 63-40. And whenever the old guys come out, so to speak, for Coach Dusty Cole, Mikey Nichols puts up 12 straight to make it an 11-point game. Go with him. And the Senators forced Dusty's hand as Coach Cole forced to put his starters back into the ball game to stop that bleeding just a little bit. And in fact, they do, as Bosley puts it away with a dunk, and the Senators fall by 13. But again, you have to like the effort you're seeing. This is a very, very young squad, but a lot of talent for Coach Smith. And right now, you got to know, if you are a student of the game whatsoever and you truly understand basketball, you know that right now he's getting pretty close to the max effort that he can get out of these young guys, especially when you consider they're playing much older rosters to start the season.
Absolutely. And again, like you said, they battled. They just went through a couple stretches and prolonged stretches where we would turn the ball over. They got runouts. I mean, they shot 24 of 39. And I guarantee 24, out of those 24, I would think at least 20 of them are right at the rim, maybe more. I mean, it's easy when you have 22 layups, you know? I mean, that's something that Senators are going to have to do better at is keeping teams from and Pekin had several shots right at the rim too. I mean, that we're going to have to do a better job of keeping people off of the rim. But, you know, Paoli, man, they are so athletic. But I tell you what, he's going to watch this film tonight. Coach Smith is not going to be real happy, I don't think. I don't think they played real well in the passing game. I don't know how many turnovers we had total, but a lot of them I think were probably our fault more than the other team just making the plays. Yeah, they had a lot of deflections, but I don't think Coach Smith's going to be real happy with some of our decision making tonight. But as far as grit, and when we talk about it, as far as battling, this team's not going to quit. I mean, they're just not. They play too hard. They're too good defensively to quit. I mean, and it just a lot of times it's going to depend on, are we making shots? Are we keeping it close? And we let it get out of hand a little bit, a 15, 17-point lead, or maybe even more than that. But again, we battled back. And they put their second group in, and it wasn't real fun for Coach Cole. He put the varsity guys right back in because this team will not quit.
Yeah, and tonight I agree to an extent. I think there's some areas of concern a little bit right now, and that's going to be normal with a young team, and he talks about this being a process with them, and part of that's realizing that when you're playing an older team, a veteran team, you can't have those silly passes. You can't have the lazy passes into the high post. But, I mean,
I don't think we played horrible. That's not what I was saying. I thought we played well. But I think there's going to be things that he sees on film tonight when he watches it.
Sure.
And I'm sure they'll have their walkthrough and stuff tomorrow at the home, you know, playing Trinity Lutheran at home, that he'll talk about that we have to be a little bit stronger with the ball and a little bit smarter with our decisions.
And for the most part, I would say the majority, again, of our shot selection was pretty good. I didn't feel like there was a ton of times, maybe a few times here and there we catch in the post and make too quick of a move or not get ourselves square. But again, it's just kind of been the storyline. We've had a lot of open looks. Holden in particular tonight, 3, 4, 5 attempts, whatever he had from downtown, and couldn't get a single one to drop, and every one felt like it was good. It looked good from up here. They just would not go down, and at some point the glass has to break.
All season long. It's not like he's missing clanging it off the back iron or off the backboard. It just seems like, in a lot of our guys, it seems like we're just rolling around the rim and out. It's just they're good looks, and it's like, yeah, that's down. And it's just like, dang, what is going on? Why can't we get that? And like you said, sooner or later, we shot 43% tonight, which I would have to go back, and it's probably one of our better shooting nights.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think it's the shooting at all, but I mean, like you said, it came down in a couple of stretches in the third quarter, at the end of the second, through the third quarter, and at the beginning of the fourth, where some of our decision making and it's just a young team trying to make plays a lot. Obviously, they're not trying to throw the ball away, but they just have to know against an experienced team that has seen those cross-court passes, that has seen the diagonal from the elbow extended down to the block. They've seen that before. They're athletic enough to react to it, and just having seen it before just makes you react that much quicker. So it's just, I wasn't saying that we played horrible, but there were some things we could have done to make that 2 or 3 possession game there towards the end, when, you know, I'm sure Coach, he's going to find some things that he liked too, just like we find a lot of positives up here as well. But you know, you got the first conference game, first road game. We've talked about this team's going to have a lot of firsts. It was the first conference, first away game. You know, you have to match the intensity, and I think we did that for the most part. They had a few runouts there in that one little stretch where I don't know, like we talked about it during timeout. Was it momentum? Was it we getting a little bit tired? But you know, you got to turn around. This is our first double, right?
Yep.
Friday, Saturday. So, you know, you got to forget it. You got to turn around and get ready to play, like you said, a potential sectional opponent. So you have to kind of forget this one.
Let's step aside. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll be joined by Senator head coach Sean Smith. We'll get his thoughts on the team's loss here tonight to Paoli on the road in conference play. We'll come back with that interview right after this.
Health and Rehabilitation, we offer hope in the form of our Moving Forward short-term rehabilitation to home program. With a full range of therapy programs, the goal of Moving Forward Rehabilitation is to help people return home safely with the skills they need to live life on their own terms. Call us and ask us about your Medicare replacement policy or managed insurance policy and what your benefits are. We are here to help. For more information about MetaView, visit ascseniorcare.com or call 812-883-4681.
Back to continue on with more of our post-game show here from Paoli High School. Senators fall tonight in a tough one, 65-52. We're joined now by Senator head coach Sean Smith. Coach, I tell you, maybe some things, of course, as any coach, that maybe you'd like to go back and redo or have over, and I'm sure you'll see some of that in the tape. But I liked, for 3 quarters plus, what I was able to see from this group tonight. And even when they were down, it got to 23 at 63-40. He pulls his guys. You think, well, maybe our guys are just going to settle, and they kept fighting. You got to like that.
Absolutely, and that's what we talked about. You know, we're going to play for 32 minutes. We're going to play hard and fight hard, and you know, we're going to battle for each other for 32 minutes, no matter what the outcome. And you know, the guys did that. You know, and we made it interesting, maybe a little bit there at the end. We got to 11. They brought their guys back in, and you know, but I mean, little things. You know, at the end of the second quarter, I think, you know, we had it maybe a 3-point game and the ball. You know, it was a good shot, but it was quick in that setting. You know, we were, you know, it was like 30 seconds to go in that you know, in the quarter, and you know, if we could have held for the last shot, you know, that you know, worse we go in is down 3. And then in that stretch, of course, good teams, they capitalized on that, and they came down, and I think they ended up being a 5-point swing, ending with that step back 3 by Clark. I mean, you know, it wasn't like he hit an open 3. I mean, he hit a step back, but that's what good teams do. They, you know, when you make mistakes, they capitalize, and that hurt us. And then we talked at halftime about, you know, we had to match their intensity. They were going to go for the knockout blow, and we had to fight first 4 minutes. And, you know, I think we fought, but I don't think we had the full intensity we needed for that moment, and they took advantage, and they, you know, they were able to push it up and kind of get some breathing room and play a lot freer. And, you know, it just comes down to when we have to play a game of possessions against them and limit their possessions and control the tempo like we talked about. And once we lost that, and we had to start trying to pick them up, you know, their just athleticism and size is just, you know, just too much for us, and they were able to get a lot of easy buckets in transition. And just a lot of little things we got to get better at, but we expected that, you know, with a young team, and you know, they're going to make mistakes, and this is a great opportunity for us to learn. It really is. If we're willing to learn from this game and learn from some of the little things that didn't work, and some of the things that did work, then, you know, we'll get better from it. Hopefully we'll get better from it and play better, you know, play tomorrow night and get a win tomorrow.
And Coach, the good news for you come in hoping to keep this game in the, you know, mid-40s or whatever, a little bit lower scoring than what Paoli may have liked, and I thought you were able to do that. You controlled the tempo for most of that first half. In fact, you come out and you handled business 15-12 after that first quarter. Had to be feeling pretty good knowing you were going to see, as we talked about in the pregame, so many different looks defensively in the half court and full court.
Absolutely, yeah. The first quarter was great, and really, to be honest with you, I mean, we gave them Babcock, you know, he just runs the floor. He takes off sprinting and runs the floor hard, and you know, we had a couple times we lost him in transition, and he got some buckets. I mean, I hate to say we gave him. He ran the floor hard and worked for him, and they found him. But, you know, if our transition defense is better, and, you know, which is something we emphasize a lot, you know, if we have a little better transition defense there, maybe we stop them, and instead of being 15-12, it's 15-6 or something. You know,
right.
Now we can really spread them out and make them play our way. But you know, that's a young team. I mean, we're a young team, and you know, we just didn't handle that very well in that second quarter. At times when we tried to spread them out, we had some costly turnovers when we probably should have shot the ball, or we, overdid it and should have brought it out, and, we didn't take advantage. And that's something we'll get better at. Again, like we talk about, it's part of the process, and this game could end up being a really big part of the process, if we can learn from it and continue to get better.
I know for you, Coach, you got to be relieved a little bit to see a guy like Mikey Nichols, who has had his share of struggles offensively, just getting open looks to try to go down in those first 3 games. Hasn't got many of them to fall, and tonight he's able to put together 12 straight in the midst of that run there in the fourth quarter. Ends up with the career high, or what I assume to be a career high 20 points.
Yeah, I'm really happy for Mikey. Mikey has really bought into what we're trying to do. He's really bought into playing hard on the defensive end. We talked about it in the fall and with him, and he took that advice, and he's really stepped up, and he's playing hard defensively and really getting after it. And he has really stepped up as far as from just being a positive, energized player. Being an energy guy and an encourager and being positive, and just really happy for Mikey that he can have a night like that tonight. I hate that we couldn't get the W, but glad to see him step up and knock some shots down, and hopefully that'll be a confidence booster for him, and he'll continue to play well, and we want to, we've seen a lot of growth out of Mikey so far, so we're really happy about that. We want to see him continue to grow, and we see all our guys continue to get better. So hopefully we can learn from this, and we've talked about how we can't let this game, for whatever reason, can't let this game affect tomorrow. We can't let Paoli beat us tomorrow. We've got to learn from it, put it behind us, and come out ready tomorrow, and ready for the opportunity to defend our home court and get a win.
You hit the nail on the head, Coach. First double dip weekend of the season for your young squad. Nice chance for them to prove their grit once more, to bounce back after a tough one here tonight. We'll talk more in depth about Trinity Lutheran in our pregame, but give us a quick sneak peek of what fans can expect tomorrow night out of the Cougars.
Well, they like to play fast, and they're scoring a lot of points, and they're giving up a lot of points. I don't know what they did tonight, but coming into tonight's game, their defensive average is 90 points a game. So they've had 2 or 3 teams score 100 or around 100 on them. They want to, they're willing to give some things up, obviously, on defense to try to outscore you, unless they change things up. It hasn't. I think they've played that way, but it hasn't necessarily worked to their advantage. I think they're 1-3 maybe, but you never know. They may decide, hey, we're going to play different this weekend. I don't know, but that's how they've been playing. They have a couple freshmen as well that are playing a lot of minutes, and they have a junior. His name, I probably pronounce it wrong. It looks like Goecker, but Coach Meyer says it's pronounced like Gurker. But I think the other night he had 35 points and 16 rebounds. So, he hits the boards hard. We're going to have to do a good job on the boards. And, again, we're going to have to come out ready to play. We got to, get our rest and get our fluids in us. And this is that first time for a lot of guys to play double weekend. They're going to have to get themselves ready to play and short memory. Come out and focus on the next game, and let's get the next game.
Good news for you, Coach. Short trip back to the Berg up Highway 56, and you guys, I'm sure, will be primed and ready for finally being back in the friendly confines tomorrow night on their home floor. We wish you the best of luck in that one, but we'll talk to you prior to the tip tomorrow night and have a safe trip back to school.
Well, I hope they're excited to play, because we don't practice in there a lot. I think they've been keeping track how many times they've been in the sunken gym, and they told me that they've practiced twice and played 1 game there. So so hopefully they're looking forward to the opportunity to
almost like another away game.
Yeah, to get some action. And they'll respect that and be appreciative of that opportunity and come out ready to play tomorrow. But yeah, we'll get ready, and we'll talk tomorrow before the game.
Sounds good, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Coach Smith joins us here on our Senator post-game show coverage, brought to you by Ace Hardware in Salem. Senators fall 65 to 52 here tonight. Paoli will step aside, get another quick break from a sponsor, and we'll come back and look at the individual statistics and team statistics as well from this loss here on the road this evening. You're listening to the Senators on Salem's 1220.
make the difference. You can feel it the minute you walk into Salem Crossing. Experts in long-term care, not just doing a job, but following a calling. They're here to help you and your family find answers and solutions and peace of mind. In fact, they become an extension of your family. For more information about Salem Crossing, visit ASCSSeniorCare.com or call 812-883-1877. That's 812-883-1877.
Back again here to the James Babcock Court. Paoli defends their home floor tonight. They're 2-0 now at home, 3-0 overall on the season, and 1-0 in conference play with the 65-52 win over West Washington. Let's look at the Paoli scoring first in the win tonight for the Rams. They get 3 players in double figures, led by a guy serving in the six-man role capacity here tonight. He had started in the previous 2 contests. Jacob Babcock off the bench leads all Rams with 14 points. As far as the starters are concerned, Ty Lawson with 12 on the night, well under his 23-point-per-game average entering tonight's game. Jordan Clark chips in 8, Ashton Minton with 4, Dietrich Sears with 3, and Brett Bosley with 10 on the night. He is the 3rd double-figure scorer off the bench. Again, Babcock, the monster evening for him. The only thing was all 14 of his points came in that first half of action. He was shut out in the second half of play. Garrett Vinson chips in 2 off the bench, as well as Dawson Easterday, who chips in 8. Mitchell Radcliffe with 4. Carter Elliott, Mason Buchanan, Parker Sullivan come in briefly before Coach Cole has them to, again, exit quickly for the starters, who he put back in after Mikey reeled off those 12 straight. So those 3 get brief minutes for Coach Cole, but are unable to tally 65 points in all. Rams go 8 of 13 from the line for 62%. They were 4 of 5 in the first half for 80%. 9 turnovers on the night, 3 in the first quarter. They did not have a giveaway in the second period of play. They turned it over 6 times in the second half of action, with 4 of those 6 coming in the third quarter, allowing West Washington to keep it fairly close. Meanwhile, for West Washington, they now drop to 2-2 on the year, 0-1 in conference play. This is their first road loss. They had won the 2 previous road matchups at Medora and Eastern last week. Tonight, Holden Bousman, a quiet night for him after that spectacular 18-point performance over at Eastern the other night in the win a week ago. Just 2 points for him coming in the second quarter of play. Mikey Nichols, I'll have to double check this when I get home, but what I assume to be a career high for him at the varsity level. 20 points on the night, including 12 straight in the fourth quarter of play. He only had 7 in the first half altogether. Parker Green chips in 2 in the second quarter. Harrison Sanford with 5. Nick Mars with 15 as he gets into double figures as well. 9 in the first half, 6 in the second half of play. Off the bench, Dakota Smith, Jake Strange, Caden Abels, and Gavin Smith all play, and each chip in 2 points apiece for a total of 52 on the board. Senators go 10 of 14 from the free throw line for 71%. They were 5 of 6 for 83% in the first half. They had 9 giveaways in each half of play tonight for 18 overall in the contest. Scoring by quarter went like this: 15-12 after the first quarter of play. Senators led it. They kept battling, but got outscored 23-12 in that second frame to go into the locker room down 35-27. Third quarter belonged to the Rams as well, outscoring Senators 12-9 in that third quarter of play. And then it was a little bit tighter in that fourth quarter as well. 18-16, Rams outscore West Washington, and they hold on for the 65-52 win here this evening. Coach, you got some additional statistics for us.
Yeah, one of the areas we talked about in the pregame was the rebounding, and actually Senators did really well in that category. But I had both teams with 20 rebounds, Paoli with 9 offensive and West Washington with 5. Leading rebounders, Bosley with 5, Jordan Clark with 4 for the Senators. Rebounding wise, Parker Green with 5 and Gavin Smith with 4. 16 assists for Paoli. Ty Lawson with 6 assists, so he did a nice job finding some people. And Jordan Clark with 4. 12 assists for the Senators, led by Nichols with 4. Bousman and Abels each had 3. Steals, again, they led that category. A lot of the deflections turned into some steals there, and they had 9 steals led by Lawson with 3, Minton with 2. 3 steals for Mikey Nichols, when as a team the Senators had 6. 2 blocks for the Rams, 1 block. Nick Mars had 1 block for the Senators. We've talked about deflections a lot over the past 2 weeks. This is the first time in 4 games that the Senators have come up short in that category, where the Rams had 17, 8 of them by Dietrich Sears out there in the front of that zone. He did a nice job again. He's nice, long, athletic. He does a nice job at the top of that zone. Deflections for the Senators for 9. Bousman again with 5 deflections. Mars had a couple. The shooting, Senators went 12 of 27 inside the arc for 44%, 6 of 15 from behind the arc for 40. So, I mean, it's not great, but it's getting better. We're starting to see a little uptick in the shooting, and hopefully those things keep trending upward for the Senators, and good things will happen if that's the case. So for 43% overall, the Rams 62% inside the arc, which you said that's where they make their hay. They get to the basket. They're long, they're athletic, they're quick, they're physically strong, and they just get to the bucket. 24 of 39 for 62%. Only 3 of 16 from 3-point for 19 for a total of 49%. So, I talked about letting them get to the rim so much, but I mean that's their game plan. So, but again, just talking to Coach Bousman while Coach Smith was on. This is a athletic, strong, quick team with veteran presence. I mean, it's just it was a tough game, and again, I thought Senators battled well. I thought we just came up a little bit short. And one thing we didn't talk about, I mean, Cam might have made a little bit of a difference in this game too. He's a long guard, experienced, so he might have helped a little bit. So hopefully we get Cam back sooner rather than later.
We're going to step aside, take our final break of the night. We'll come back, name our Ace Hardware Player of the Game. We'll wrap things up and look quickly, a little preview of tomorrow night's matchup at home with Trinity Lutheran. We'll come back and wrap things up from Chambers Gymnasium right after this.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
I needed a cooler for our annual fishing trip, and I heard Ace has Yeti.
Jack was right. We do have Yeti coolers. I told him about the permafrost insulation and the fact that Yeti coolers are built for the wild, and that Yeti Tundra is guaranteed grizzly-proof.
Ace is a place with grizzly-proof Yeti coolers.
Ace Hardware of Salem is your local Yeti dealer. Get a free $50 Ace gift card with your purchase of any Yeti cooler of $249 or more. Offer ends December 23rd.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Back for the final time to Paoli High School tonight. Senators drop it in conference play to the Rams, 65-52. The final time to name our Ace Hardware Player of the Night, and that'll go to Mikey Nichols. 20 points, a career high for him. 3 of 4 from 2-point range, 4 of 4 from downtown, 2 of 4 from the free throw line as well. He dished out 3 dimes and had a steal on the night as well. So Mikey Nichols, our Ace Hardware Player of the Night. Congratulations to him. And as Coach said in his conversation with me after the ball game, Coach, very quick turnaround, because less than 24 hours from now we'll be back at home inside the friendly confines. Trinity Lutheran coming to town. Coach Stuckwish brings a team that might not like to play a lot of D, but they're also not afraid to put up some points either.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting matchup. I mean, so far this season, the Senators are really kind of making a name for themselves defensively. How well they stay in front, and how well they get their hands and active hands out in the passing lanes and stuff. So we'll see. It'll be an interesting matchup. One that, if just going by the scores, obviously I haven't seen them play. I mean, if they give up a bunch of points, we'll see, can the Senators put that many points up? We've been mostly playing a lot of D. We prefer more of a slow down pace. What we end up with at night 50 was 52. So, I mean, normally high 40s, low 50s is what I kind of see this team in right now. I mean, obviously that they're going to get better and better as the season goes on, but it'll be an interesting matchup. Another team that obviously wants to get up and down the court, where the Senators want to grind it down in the defensive end, and my kind of style, if it were. But obviously, I like to see track meets too. But it makes it hard to do all these stats when it's a track meet. So I kind of enjoy the. Let's make everybody be patient sometimes. It keeps me from panicking on the stat lines.
Well, Coach, if it makes you feel any better, check the John Harrell site here. And for fans on their way home, Trinity Lutheran played Southwestern Shelbyville tonight and fell 82-63, so another game where they give up nearly 90. It's got to bode well for these Senators, who are finally starting to come around a little bit with their shooting. Coach, short turnaround for us, so we'll have to get some good rest tonight and be ready to roll tomorrow.
It might be interesting, too, if they're giving up that many points, if Coach is going to, take the leash off a little bit. Is he going to tell Holden and Mikey and Caden and all those guys, hey, let's push the tempo a little bit. It'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow night.
And we'll see you back in the friendly confines then.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Here tonight, Senators get 20 out of Mikey Nichols and 15 out of Nick Mars, but it's not enough as they fall in conference play 65-52. And as we close out this broadcast of Senator Basketball on Salem's 1220, we want to thank all the sponsors one more time that make this and every broadcast of Senator Basketball possible. Those sponsors include John Jones GM City, our pregame show sponsor, bringing you the Senator Tip-Off pregame show all season long, as well as our halftime sponsor, Eddie Gilstrap Motors. Check them out there on the just south of the Salem Square on the Main Street, as well as our post-game show sponsor, Ace Hardware, bringing you the Player of the Night honors as well. Again, that to Mikey Nichols. McDonald's, Walmart, Brady Bishop and Channel Seeds, Salem Crossing, and Meadowview Healthcare, all great sponsors of Senator Basketball all season long on WSLM. So please do your part to let those sponsors know how much they are truly appreciated, because without their support, Coach Gibson and I can't do the job we love each night. The Senators are in action and bringing you the action here on WSLM. So let those sponsors know how much they are truly appreciated. For our statistician tonight and my sidekick, Mark Gibson, for the live stream operator for tonight's contest, Craig Akers, this is Misty Jones saying so long and good night from Chambers Gymnasium in Paoli. Senators fall in conference play 65-52, but they'll try to bounce back tomorrow night against Trinity Lutheran, who comes to town after their loss tonight to Southwestern. And we'll see that game take place at its regularly scheduled time, 6 o'clock JV tip. Coach Sullivan will try to get back to his winning ways as well with the JV. They fall tonight 51-34, dropping to 2-2 overall on the year to match the varsity record now after tonight's varsity loss. So both teams will get back at it. We'll be on with our pregame show coverage around 7:10 on 1220, and then bring you the action between the Cougars and Senators tomorrow night from the Ron Smith Court. Until then, and by the way, also for our studio engineer back at the station tonight, Greg White, great job as always by him getting us on and getting us rolling. This is Misty Jones saying so long and good night.